welcome guys to the Slowpoke. Well, and today, well earlier today I should say, the legendary Heartbeat set got fully leaked on Poke Beach, which is going to be part of our, probably not Darkness Ablaze, but the next set after this. So either way, I thought it would be a pretty fun video just to have a look at the cards, get our first impressions, and see what we think is going to be good and what's not going to be good. There's actually a whole new rarity of cards called Amazing Rares, which look absolutely gorgeous, but a little bit hard to choose. But let's have a look. So let's just get down. I've got all the pictures here. We've got the text and artwork here. So we'll get started with this Beedrill. Let's look at the fully evolved geezers first. You've got some nice artwork there. 130 HP. Stage 2, Elusive Master. Once during your turn, if this card was the only card in your hand, you may play it onto your bench, then draw 3 cards. So that's reminiscent of the Greninja. It's a Greninja GX, I think that had that ability, I believe. So that means you can cheat it into play. So that's interesting. So you can oh no, how if there's any card in your hand? Yeah, so you might play your hand down a little bit, all that good stuff. But is it even worth going through all that business? Let's have a look. And then you got a Sharp Sting, 120 damage for 2. So yeah, I'm not quite seeing that one, unfortunately. Not quite seeing that one. Maybe you could use it as some way to like draw a card, maybe like a scoop up net type thing, maybe. Could be cool, probably not though. Let's keep it moving. Okay, we've got something Executor here. Look at all the fully evolved geezers. Stage 1, 140 HP. Head split, 30 damage for 1 grass. Choose one of your opponent's attacks. Active Pokemon's attacks, then that defending Pokemon can't use that attack during the next turn. We've seen attacks like this before. Amnesia Risk Cash brings to mind. I think there was an Uxie that did something on Azelf, one of the trio people. The one that's got the yellow thing there. But as it stands, those effects aren't really that good. Funnily enough, some VMAX only have 1 attack, but some have 2. So they can always like play around that sort of thing. And once they switch, most post rotation decks are playing like 4 switch. You got Bird Keeper in format, all that good stuff. So I don't see that being particularly great. This Yanma, however, did catch my eye. So stage 1 Pokemon, 130 HP, with 2 attacks. We've got a U-turn. Hang on, where am I looking? Yeah, U-turn for 50 damage. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. So it's got a bit like Hit and Run. Now we have got Greedent coming out in Darkness Ablaze set, most likely, right? Greedent does 100 for Twin Energy, puts itself back to hand. So it has to compete with that. There's advantages for it coming back to hand rather than Yanmega spinning to the bench. There's advantages and disadvantages for both. But if you want to hit for grass arenas, maybe, I'm not sure, you might want to use this. But hit and run for 21 attachment is always something worth keeping note of. And whether or not it's better than Greedent, it remains to be seen. But that is, if Greedent didn't exist, that would be a pretty decent hit and run in its own right. So I think it's worth looking at. And here's the first Amazing Rare we've got too. So the Amazing Rares are like these cool cards. They don't give up 1 prize. I remember there was a time when people it got leaked that they didn't give up any prizes. That sounded a bit scary, but there's no news of that yet. They should still give up a prize. There's nothing on the text that says it doesn't give up any prizes. You know how VMAX and GX all said give up 2 prizes when knocked out. There's nothing on this card that says anything different. So we are assuming that these give up 1 prize. We've got the cool artwork, and the sort of gimmick that we seem to have is this really awkward attack cost for the most part. So let's have a look at Celebi. Celebi Amazing Rare. So we've got Energy Press for 1 grass, does 30 damage, 30 tons amount of energy attached to your opponent's active. It's not a bad attack. I'd like that to be like a little bit more, to be honest, if you're going to make super good use of this. But one attackman that could get a little dink in. But the other attack's really interesting though. For Lightning Psychic, I believe, is that? Yeah, Lightning Psychic. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your bench Pokemon. Play those from each of your bench Pokemon, I should say, and play those cards on top of them to evolve them. So, if any of you remember Leafeon and Jex, it's really reminiscent to that. I'm not sure if functionally it's the same, but I think it might be. A little bit high, a bit more of a weird energy cost. Obviously, Leafeon had the energy evolution, so you can like pop this off in a turn. With this weird energy cost, So yeah, I guess you got KOKO Prism to fulfill the lightning. So you could get this going in a turn, really. I'm not sure what would be evolving at this time, but that's a card worth noting. That if there's ever going to be like any sort of new-esque Malamar deck or whatever, or any sort of deck that revolves around multiple stage 1s or maybe even stage 2s coming out, it's worth keeping this Celebi in mind. But right now, it's going to take someone a bit more big brain than me to work it out. Okay, what's Shaman do? Let's have a look. So we got Leech Seed, 20 damage, heal 20 from his Pokemon. Okay. Flip a coin, Flower Transport for Grass Colorless. Flip a coin if your opponent flips their active and all cards faced. Wait, what? If heads, your opponent flips their active and all cards attached to it face down, shuffles those cards and oh, okay, that's that. Okay, that is quite weird. It's a bit like if they're active, all cards attached to it, put it to the bottom of their deck for 2 energy. If that was for 1, that'd be really cool. It'd be a bit broken probably, but it's for 2. Strikes me as something that could come up if there's any some sort of energy reduction, like a counter game type thing. This strikes me as something that could be really good in like a stall sort of archetype, reminiscent to that sort of Noctowl, Pidgeot-esque kind of deck. So yeah, we have got that. That's worth keeping a note of as well. Genesect does 50 damage on your opponent's Pokemon. 120, nah, that's rubbish. Delmoise does 120 if they've got a special attach, but that's a really high energy cost, so I don't think we'll bother with this. We'll get to Zarude V. Okay, so like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we are really in like an XY number 2 format. There's so many cards. You got like not Vikavolt, what's that card called? Is it Vikavolt? Yeah, Vikavolt is like Seismitoad, Magpie is like Night March, Eternus is like Mega Ray, etc, etc. And this Zarude is reminiscent of Mega Sceptile. Base had the same attack, to be fair. So Zarude's a basic grass type Pokemon, 210 HP, with double colorless attack cost, bind down, 50 damage, your opponent's active can't retreat. That's not the Mega Sceptile part. This part is for 2 grass you do 100 damage. You may attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your hand to your bench Pokemon anywhere you like, heal all damage from those Pokemon. Weakness to fire, retreat cost of 1. So I'm not sure if Mega Sceptile was limited to grass energy. Could be wrong, but the premise was the same. It had that similar attack where you'd attach energy and heal. So if this had like more HP, because Mega Sceptile at the time was tanky. Like, there was a time where you could just sort of loop them over and over again, like energy retrievals and a Starmie. But 210 HP we know these days, so it isn't tanking anything. So unless you're using this as like a way, because it does heal all damage. So you get like 300 damage on you. You detach 1 energy from this attack and you completely heal. That's kind of strong. But it is for 2 attachments, unless you're playing Rillaboom. So there's that to keep in mind. But I don't think it can be its own standalone. Whether or not you can like play it in like a Rillaboom-esque tank, sort of like a Rillaboom, a double Rillaboom deck, I should say. You can use this to heal off your Rillaboom VMAX. I'm not sure, but as it stands now, I'm not 100% convinced. Not gonna lie to you. Let me get onto this Raikou, amazing rare. Oh, that artwork is. I'm really a fan of this art style here, guys. If anyone's watching, and you want to do some sort of like art for me like this, I love it. Let's have a look. So we've got Raikou. Oh, I've actually skipped over Ampharos. I'll get back to Ampharos now. My eyes got drew to Raikou. Raikou, 110 HP basic, 1 attack. Amazing shot for grass, lightning, metal. Do 120 damage and 120 to one of your opponent's bench. That is a silly amount of spread. That is crazy. It's 240 damage for free on a non-GX or non-V. It's that energy cost though, man. Like, they're also awkward. I imagine there's going to be some support for these down the road. There'll be some sort of like, I don't know, amazing patch or like an amazing energy maybe that can count for anyone while it's attached to an amazing rare or something like this. But as it stands now, like, they all have really good bonkers attacks. They're just really hard to get set up for, right? But I mean, as it stands now, that's pretty bonkers. That 120 snipe, that is softening up a lot of stuff. You know, 2-shotting a lot of stuff as well in theory. So if you could sort of build a deck that can fulfill that attack cost, you know, yeah, you could be doing some serious damage stuff like the lightning weakness. I think that hits Salamence as well for weakness. So that's pretty nutty. Maybe something like EXP share comes back in format. Then I can see these amazing rares actually doing quite well. But as it stands now, there is no EXP share. Let's have a look at Ampharos, which also is a spreading Pokemon. So Ampharos is a basic 210 HP, with 2 attacks. You got Dazzle Blast for lightning colorless, does 50 damage. Your opponent's active is now confused. Maybe stuff like Electro Powers in format can be a nice little poke, but it's a nice little 2 energy attack. You know, if KOKO feels, you can easily get 2 energies going in a turn. That's kind of cool. And you got Damage Bot for lightning colorless, does 120. This attack does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon that already have damage on them. So that's spread 30 to 80. That's got damage on. That's kind of strong. Reminds me a bit of Weezing, a little bit more higher damage cap than Weezing, whilst actually doing considerable damage to the active. We know that we can get lightning attackers going. That's not too hard to do. But I think if you're getting lightning attackers going, you've got stuff like Pikarom. You've got stuff like Raikou. You've got Bolton. Yeah, there's quite a lot of other Toxicity, VMAX, Vikavolt to a certain extent. We've got a lot of other attackers that we can use. Lightning's a very competitive type. And they don't really seem to be much of a spreading sort of archetype outside like a Tag Bolt, for example. So I'm struggling to see its place in the meta. They always have to have damage on them as well. So you have to sort of soften the bench up somehow. I'm sure there's some probably like cheap energy and lightning attacker that does that. I can't think of one, but I'm sure there is one in format. So that's a lot of spread, but I think the way the format's going with so much high HP base, like this has 210 for example, VMAX had like 300 up. I think spread as a dedicated archetype is really going to be struggling. Coming into these new formats, unless you're doing something see like 60 everywhere, for example. 30 I just don't think it's going to cut it anymore. So Manectric, what does this geezer do? It's got an ability when you during your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve a Pokemon, you may draw 3 cards. Okay, we'll scoop up net. That's a little bit of extra supplemental draw. Yeah, attack does 3 for 100. 3 retreat cost also. So if you have 2 Electrolytes, you can evolve 1, Pat, scoop up net, Pap, maybe at 6. That's interesting. It might not be the most sort of in-your-face draw engine, but see your scoop up, super scoop ups on in format as well. So that could be a lot of supplemental draw. If there was like a cheap energy attacker that doesn't really need a lot of upkeep, means you want to churn through your deck, this could be a good way to do it. I don't really see it being like a sort of stall-esque type thing, because they've got Mintina, that's really effective. But this is a lot of draw. Drawing 3 with scoop up net in format is awfully good. So that's one worth noting. Garvantula, 20 times the amount of damage counters on the opponent's active. Interesting. You know, lightning they are quite powerful hitters. So I don't see why you probably need this. Bolton tends to be quite a good little clean up revenge attacker in most scenarios. Zekrom's interesting. For 3 energy, does 130. And then he can do this Pokemon does 60 to itself, and your opponent's active is just straight paralyzed. Now, I did say earlier that there's going to be a lot of switches, a lot of bird keepers in deck, and this is true. But anytime you get auto paralysis, you have to give it a second look. As it stands now, they're doing 6 to itself is kind of awkward. I don't think there's any damage manipulation yet. You've got Gengar for Psycho, but I don't think there's any for lightning types. But if that ever does come into format, this could be something worth coming back to, because auto paralysis is always strong. Daora does, what is this, 110 if they're V or GX. 110 is not enough. No, that's not enough. Pinchirkin, no, I'm not feeling that, unfortunately. What does Fable do? Fable does something quite interesting, I believe. So Psychic type, 110 HP. That's funny to say, isn't it? Fable's a Psychic type. Ability, once you're in your turn, if your active has any Psychic attached to it, you may heal 20 and remove one of its special conditions. I mean, if special conditions ever become sort of prevalent, this could be a nice way to stop that from happening. Healing 20 is kind of cool as well. Maybe it could fit like a 1-1 into Dragapult. Maybe to make yourself a little bit more tanky. You know, stuff like this. It's not bad. It's not bad. Not particularly great, but not bad. Girafarig, no, I don't think that's very good. Oh, this Banner actually might be my favourite card in the set, you know. This Banner, right, can single-handedly tip the scales back into like V Pokemon, or even maybe potentially non-EX GX V decks away from the VMAXs. This card is that good. Stage 1 Pokemon 90 HP ability Devoker. Anyone from the UK know Devo? Oh dear. Once during your turn, you may play this card from your hand to evolve a Pokemon, or when you play this card, I should say, to evolve a Pokemon. You may de-evolve one of your opponent's benched evolved Pokemon, put the highest stage of it back into your opponent's hand. So, the evolution's always strong, and we're going to a format where the best decks look like they're going to be evolving basics, okay? Salamence, for example, Toxtricity, any of these VMAX decks. I can see this being an absolute world beater in Zacian, because Zacian does 230, okay, or with modifiers and get a little bit higher like Galarian per sucker. And what you can do with this, you can hit your VMAX, right? Hit your opponent's VMAX. Maybe hit a couple of them, for example, different Zacians. And then you can just like go pop, pop, evolve, de-evolve, de-evolve. You have to take 4 prizes. They take all their energy off the board. You're taking KOs. That's rather strong. Combine it like a reset stamp as well, so they got a low hand size. It's good. I was just saying about how spread might be a bit weaker, but cards like this, this does work for spread. You can like spread to all your opponent's Pokemon that evolve have too much have so much damage that when you de-evolve them, they just insta KO. That's what we're trying to do, KO them by putting a lot of damage that the basic doesn't have, de-evolve not a KO. So I like this. I'm a fan. It's a shame it's only one. There's an Esper on the X that devolved everything on an attack for 1. That's probably too good, but this is good. I like this card. This is definitely this is a card you want to keep in your binder for sure. Really strong. Is a psychic type? Oh yeah, because I guess it's fairy, isn't it, in the game? Artwork. Xerneas does something like, yeah, put a card from your discard pile into your hand. I'm sure some store players would love this. Get energy back, getting supporters back, but yeah, it's not really my kind of card. Not really feeling dancy. Okay, we've got the sort of Alcremie VMAX here. The V doesn't do anything great. 1 for 30 does heals 30. Oh no, heals 30 from each of your bench Pokemon. Sorry, whatever. And then 3 for 100 to defend the Pokemon was a basic kind of attack. That's kind of cool. That could come up, but for free energy attachments, it's kind of expensive. Now that there's no Malamar in format, and it seems to me like this Alcremie VMAX, it was a card that would have been really good with Malamar, but that doesn't exist anymore. So let's have a look. VMAX Pokemon, 310 HP, 2 attacks. First one's for a colorless decorate. For each of your bench Pokemon, search your deck for a psychic attached to that Pokemon and shuffle your deck. That's cool. That's a lot of acceleration. Reminds me a bit like what is that Pachirisu's attack, Nuzzle? Is it Nuzzle, something like this, where it attach energy. It's basically the same thing for psychics, right? It does say psychic though, so you can't accelerate any other type of energy. And you got G-Max Finale for Psychic. 60 times you can discard any amount of energy attached to your Pokemon. This attack does 60 for each energy card discarded in this way. So that's really strong. An unlimited damage cap in theory. Notice how you can discard any energy for the actual damage attack, but you can only attach Psychics with the Decorate. Worth noting. So if some decks want to hit for Psychic weakness that are like Electric, for example, they can use this to hit for that weakness. But we're doing really good with Malamar. As it stands now, could you sort of play like can you just sort of play us on its own, like try and decorate a few times, and just if you're against a G-Max deck, just say G-Max Finale twice to win, maybe. I don't know how if the format speed will allow for such a deck to exist, but that's a lot of damage that it can throw around, so interesting to know. We've got Zacian. Amazing rare. Look at this artwork again. Oh, look, at matching my purple theme, but the purple and blue. Ooh. Basic Pokemon, 110 HP, 2 attacks. For 1 colorless, does 30 damage. Attach a basic energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Now that is actually really self-sufficient for a card like this. Letting you pick out the exact colors you need and stuff like this. But again, it's only got 110 HP, so that's not really getting it done. This other attack is crazy though. For Grass, Psychic Metal, Amazing Sword, you do 150 damage, and if your opponent has a VMAX in play at all, you do 150 more. 300 damage on a non-GX. That's strong. That's strong, fellas and ladies. That's. It's just a shame it's got 110 HP. It's a shame because as soon as I saw these cards, I had to check if Rainbow Brush was still being formatted, and it's not, and it's so upsetting. Because with Rainbow Brush, you could probably do some like green shenanigans, but Unless it's not. But 300 damage, that's no joke. That's a lot of damage. So, yeah. Quags, that's rubbish. We've got Shuckle here. Flip a coin till you get tails for each head. Discard a card of your opponent's deck. Could come up maybe. Regirock, no. Lucario, oh there's no Lucario. Zygarde. This was interesting because this lets you smack around Eternus. So we've got Zygarde, basic Pokemon, 150 HP, 2 attacks. For one fighting, you beam for 30, and then for fighting Coalossal, Core Avenger, 80 plus damage. If you have more prize cards than your opponent, you do 80 more. So don't quote me on this, but I think the math works out. You can't actually one-shot an Eternus. Maybe you need like Dojo or something along those lines. But that attack cost looks a bit gross. But with Guz Hala, you can search out the Karate Belt, the Dojo, and the Twin. So you can just sort of splash this into a deck if you have a bad Eternus matchup in theory, and you can try and just one-shot the 3 prizer in one turn. Kind of strong, worth noting. So yeah, that could be a pretty good card for sure. Like what? There's nothing. Okay, now we're on to Coalossal VMAX. Right, this V is probably arguably the worst V so far. It does 3 for 90 and they're burnt great. And then you've got 4 for 180. That's amazing. Granted, obviously you do have the other Coalossal to support this, but the VMAX, I'm not sure if I'm convinced. In all fairness, let's have a look. So, VMAX Pokemon 330 HP. For one fighting, you do Eruption Blast, 40 plus damage. Discard 1 card from the top of your deck. If that card has an energy, you do 90 more. And then you can attach that to this Pokemon. Okay. So you're doing, what is that, 130? And then you can attach the energy. With Oranguru and stuff like this, you can load that. So it's not like a blind going into deck. You can sort of load this. So 1 for 140, and then it just seems a bit counterproductive. Like maybe in expanded with like strong energy and all that stuff, you can just go bonkers and like just try and stack this attack to do something crazy. But in standard, you're going to be probably looking to either play this with the other Coalossal, or, well, I think that would be the best way to play with the other Coalossal, right? Or like some sort of Turbo Patch Rose-esque kind of engine. And I guess if you're going on the Rose or Valley engine, I guess that 1 extra from Eruption Blast would be kind of relevant, because then you can turn 2 Eruption Blast, attach energy, the next turn you can Rose. So I guess, okay, so it is kind of important. And then you do the sort of vanilla, there's so many G-Max Pokemon have this as an attack now. The 4 for 240, I mean, Salamence got it. This one's a lot hard to get to because it's fighting colorless. But you know, we know that's a good attack, a good relevant 2-shot on everything. So another tanky VMAX to add to the format. Zamazenta, amazing rare. Oh baby, look at this. So Zamazenta got the same attack as Zacian, Metal Arm for one colorless energy, do 30 and attach a basic from your discard part of this Pokemon. So we can sort of again try and, you know, power ourselves up. And we've got Amazing Shield for grass, fighting metal. You do 180. This Pokemon takes no damage from attacks over her opponent's VMAX on your opponent's next turn. Okay, 180. That's, again, I know Bosch's orders exist, but you know, if they're having to like Bosch's orders around this, because 180 is enough damage to the point where it's like you put them on a big time clock. Like most of the time, these sort of attacks do like 50, and your opponent has time to, like, you know, try and draw into their Bosch's orders. This is saying draw into that Bosch's orders now, or I'm gonna KO you. So that's cool, but then that attack cost is just ridiculous. Unless there's some sort of support that comes out, I can't see this really being played. But with one thing worth noting with this one is that you can use Karate Belt. I can't remember if some of the other ones had well, I guess you can go Metal Saucer E-Switch, Karate Belt, KOKO. So you could really get this one going in one turn if you wanted. But yeah, worth noting for sure. Fortress is super interesting, to be fair. Stage 1 Pokemon, 120 HP. Top attacks are relevant. Bottom attack, Metal, Colorless, Tie Bomber. Both active Pokemon are knocked out. Interesting. So you can go like Saucer, Twin. Bang, 3 prizes, and only take 1. Again, it might be way too expensive to pull off regularly and stuff like this, but now there's 3 prizes in the format, being able to just go upgrade, bang. He has stuff like Beedrill back in there. He had to jump through a little bit of hoops. He had to like get a stage 2 out, then make sure they had damage on, or something like this. I think with that. With this though, once you can do that attack, no, that's it, bang, dead. So worth noting for sure. I guess you can go like, can you go well? No, you can't go well. I guess you could, but Twin Energy is probably better. Steelix V. They always do Steelix. They always do Steelix dirty, don't they? Oh, Steelix V. Metal Colorless. 30 plus damage. His attack does 10 for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Granted, he's got 250 HP. That could add up, but then, I mean, most of the time could be getting one shot. I guess Salamancer's like 240, alright? So you could, like, in theory, just slap them back really hard, but you still don't one shot them anyway. And you got Iron Tackle, Metal Colorless, 210 does 30 to itself. Just stop. Keep it moving. Metagross lets you have your Pokemon have free retreat. That's kind of cool, but it is on the stage 2, so take that with a pinch of salt. Ooh, Jirachi. Now, this could be the best amazing rare. Jirachi is one of my favorite Pokemon as well, so that's really cool. So, this ability is the same as Pidgeotto, right? Except it has been inactive. So once during your turn, this Pokemon is inactive, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, and return the other to the top of your deck. Oh, it goes, so it stays at the top of your deck. Okay. So, it doesn't go to sleep though. So you can use this, you know, all the time. You can combo with U-turn ball because it has got one retreat card. So this could be the new sort of pivot Pokemon in format. Granted, it's nowhere near as good as Celebi Jirachi, but anytime you can see extra cards a turn, always good. With stuff like Scoop Up Net as well, you can potentially try and, you know, have a look. If you can shuffle your deck in between, basically, you can sort of see new cards. The attack again is pretty nuts. Psychic, Fighting, Metal, Amazing Star. Search your deck for up to 7 basic energy attaching to this Pokemon, to your Pokemon any way you like. So that basically reads get set up. Maybe that could work with Alcremie, maybe. Again, the attack cost is crazy, but you can karate about this, and you can metal source to this because it is a metal type. So it's just got that pesky psychics. So you can like be behind on prizes, metal source, attach psychic return, and then you get Dream or Amazing Star going off. So okay, and maybe you can use the Amazing Star to set up the rest of your Rainbow Rares, Amazing Rares, yeah? Boom, big brain baby, we broke the form. But yeah, I like this is probably the one I was going to see the most play, at least out the gate without any Amazing Rare support. So that seems really good. Lucario, nah, sorry mate. Darga's interesting. I mean, anytime I'm saying that about a lot of cards, right? But this is a metal type that accelerates metal energy. So for 1 colorless energy, attach 2 metal energies from your discard piles, 1 of your Pokemon. So stuff like, it reminds me a bit of the Metal Sharpener Duraludon, I think it's called. This is a bit, Duraludon is a little bit of chip though, which is kind of like, this doesn't do any chip, but it accelerates more energy. So this could be the new sort of off attacker metal types play, because it also has a decent attack as well. Metal Colorless is 130, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. That's not bad. So that will, I don't think it one-shots Decidueye, but with a Galarian Berserker it does. So, you know, combo Speed Zacian can play this to get around that, but I guess it can also attack with Galarian Berserker in that scenario as well. So ignore me. But either way, this is still a good card, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's in metal decks. Again, sorry, this Lugia is a beast. This Lugia is insane, right? So basic Pokemon, 130 HP. 2 energy, Gust does 40, great. 4 colorless energy though, Wind Pressure, 250 damage. If your opponent has 5 or less cards in hand, this attack does nothing. So you can do this turn 1, go in second, alright? Welder, Twin. 250. If your opponent has 5 or less, if your opponent's hand is right for this attack, right, let's say you can get the 250 and your opponent hasn't got a bench Pokemon in play, you can win off this. It is that simple. I don't think, is there a basic in format that's over 250 without modifier? I'm guessing like you can put like toughness cape on or whatever, but 250 is insane, and it'll make me wonder if like some decks will play, world decks will just play like, because they play a lot of like the Dene and stuff anyway, right? If there's any sort of world of twin energy deck, I think you have to play something like this, right? Because you can just win games turn 1, you know, bish bash bosh done. That's crazy. Lugia's one of my favorite Pokemon too, so that's cool. Togekiss, and you got Togekiss VMAX. What does the base one do? Not very good. Let's just look at the Togekiss VMAX. Then this is a card. I think I actually put this on my Twitter. If you're not following me already, Hot Chalk PTCG. Just to gauge some people's opinions, because it's a tough one. You got a VMAX Pokemon, 310 HP. Where am I looking? Here we go. For Coalossal, Max Glide, this is 120 damage. Search your deck for 2 cards, put them into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. Weakness to Lightning, retreat cost of 0. Retreat cost of 0 I like. Lightning weakness I don't like. Attack, I'm unsure about. So, Colorless 120, such a deck for up to 2 cards, right? So it's a bit like Magical Ribbon. Magical Ribbon got 3 cards though for 1 attachment. Didn't do any damage. This does some damage, nowhere near enough in my opinion. 120 doesn't even 2-shot stuff like Zacian. It does 2-shot Zacian, but I can see Zacian a lot of other basics playing Toughness Cape, in which case you're not, which is diabolical. So what are we searching out? That's going to be really impactful. Right now, some people are saying, "Oh, Shay, you can use Powerful Energy." Yeah, that's good. You can, but you can only attach 1 of them per turn unless you're playing Porygon Z. If you're playing Porygon Z, I mean, fair play to you, but I don't really like stage 2s. I mean, granted, if you can get that Porygon Z out, you can do some crazy stuff with this. Don't get me wrong. And maybe because it is colorless, you can use like Capture Energy and all that good stuff. Maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not sure. Like, there isn't like, you know, what's that word? Like Max Potion stuff in format anymore. Rightfully so, probably as well. So I don't think out of the gate immediately that this is a card that's going to see play, but I do think 3 or 4 sets down the road, a bit like Domfan back in the day, remember Domfan? A few more sets down the road, going to be some combination of cards going to make this silly, and then it's going to be really good. But I think as it stands now, I don't think it's going to see a terrible amount of play out the gate. Okay, this Trumbeak's interesting. Stage 1 Pokemon. Oh, he's kissing someone there. Go on, Trumbeak, keys. Once during your turn, when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve a Pokemon, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, choose any number of basic energy you find there, attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. Okay, again, with Scoop Up Net in format, because Scoop Up Net's a silly card, this could be pretty nutty. Maybe you can play this with the Milcery, whatever it's called, VMAX Pokemon, because you can just like spur energy into play, right? This is decent. This is decent. I don't like the fact, I mean, you can always Oranguru 1 to the top, so you're guaranteed at least 1, and maybe that's good enough in its own right. But if you can ever hit like 2 of these in a turn, or like, you know, do Oranguru 1, bang, Scoop Up Net, shuffle your deck, you know, do another 1, happen to get 1, because look at the top 3 is a decent amount. So could be decent. Could be, if you can build your deck around like S kind of engine, maybe play like Pokénabs maybe, and well, Pokemon wouldn't be that great, but you know, there's some sort of combination of cards, I'm sure, where you can sort of load your top decks a bit more easier and get used to this Trumbeak. I don't think that's bad at all, only because Scoop Up Net's in format though. And we get some trainers. Some of these are reprints. Great Ball, Switch, Pokemon Catcher. We've got a new one here though. Moo Moo Cheese. Heal 30 damage from up to 2 of your Pokemon have any energy attached to them. Now see, I was talking about spread decks earlier. Right? Ampharos is 30 to the bench. Yeah, this is heals 30 from 2. I mean, I'm not saying Pokemon decks will play this, but is that good? Heal 30 from up to 2 Pokemon having energy. Seems a bit weak. Malolana, right? The new Mimikyu stops this as well. You got to like Malolana, you got a hyper version, so I don't think this is the best way to go about it. Oh, hit a wind outside, that's scary. Hero's Medal. This is cool. This is basically Island Charm Amulet, but for VMAXs, right? Attach this tool 20. This is a tool card. The maximum HP of the VMAX, it has to be a VMAX though. This card's attached is reduced by 100. If this Pokemon VMAX is knocked out from damage from opponent's attack, they take 1 less prize card. However, so that's like the same as Island Charm Amulet, right? You take 100 HP off your max, but you give up 1 less prize. But there's a little stipulation to this one. You can't attach this Pokemon if it would be knocked out upon attaching it. So you can't like preemptively say, right, I've got 50 HP left, you've got 3 prizes left though, I'm gonna attach this, knock myself out, so you only take 2 prizes and I come with my next attack. You can't do that, which is cool, which I kind of like, because that could sort of turn games into like weird scenarios. I'm sure some people will say, oh, they like that counter play and comeback ability. Yeah, I don't. So like, I don't want that business. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So any sort of VMAX, I can see maybe what's that one called? Dragapult. I could see being quite a good recipient of this. Yeah, so it's going to make some VMAX decks try and force your opponent to knock out 3 VMAXs. Granted, they've all got 100 HP less, but you know, that can probably offset some of that prize trading in the sort of VMAX versus VMAX matchups. Just help skew the prize trade. So I can see that getting a lot of play, in all honesty. Rocky Helmet reprint. I've got a secret rare one of these, I think, somewhere. It's not terribly impactful though. It's a tool card. When your opponent attacks a Pokemon that's attached to it, they take 2 damage counters back, something like that. Yeah, 2 damage counters attacking Pokemon. Okay. Beauty is a supporter. Yep. You can use this going first. So this is a support you can use on your first turn. That's cool. Draw 2 cards though. So I don't know what decks would want this. Sort of turbo decks maybe. I'm not sure, but that's a no from me. Alistair, now this card, however, this is interesting for sure. Supporter card. Draw 3 cards, then discard up to 3 cards from your hand. You must discard at least 1. So it reminds me a bit of TV Reporter from Lost Thunder, I'd like to say. So what it's going to let you do, I can see the deck like maybe Turbozation, playing something like this, or because that plays like, you know, Turbo Patch, Metal Saucer, so you get a lot of energy in the bin to satisfy, you know, those cards. And this is going to give you a decent amount of dig to draw into them, number 1, but it also lets you get rid of loads from hand. So you can like discard up to 3 metals from hand, for example, discard them, and you can like metals with Turbo Patch, all that shenanigans. So that's actually interesting. I don't see much use for it outside of something along those specific scenarios, but I think at that scenario, I think it's quite good. Marnie reprint. Oh, I've gone over Opal. This could be silly. I don't like coin flip cards being powerful. I know they have to be powerful to warrant you playing them, but I don't like them being silly. This potentially could be silly. Supporter card. Flip to search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. That's crazy. That's nuts. So, I mean, Red's Challenge is a decent supporter, right? Discard 2 and you get a computer search. This, in theory, could be 2 computer searches. Granted, it's on a supporter. And your supporter, granted, you know, 25% of the time, in theory, yeah, your supporter will do nothing for the turn. But 25% of the time, is that right? 50, 25? No, 50% of the time, I don't know the maths. 75% of the time, I should say, I think. It's a computer search. And it is a supporter, so, you know, twos and throws. But if you're a risk taker, you know, if you like coin flips, you know, this could be the card. Granted, it doesn't work with Glimwood Tangle, it doesn't work with Will. Glimwood Tangle only lets you reflip coins for effects of attacks. This obviously is an attack, and then Glimwood, and then Will is obviously supporter as well, so you can't play 2 supporters. But interesting. Aroma Grass Energy. While it's attached, it provides a grass energy. If this card is attached to a grass type Pokemon, it can't be affected by special conditions. Remove all special conditions. I don't think special conditions are going to be terribly impactful. Nothing much is springing to mind. It could be a fun little counter against toxicity. VMAX, and you're like, whoops, you ain't poisoning me. But outside of that, I can't think of much else use. I'm sure there's probably something, but it's a good card to have for your grass deck. You never know, something like this could come up. Obviously, Rillaboom can't voltage beat these though. So, and then the last card is a Stone Fighting Energy. It looks a lot like Strong Energy, but it isn't. It's the reverse for Strong Energy. So if this energy is attached to a fighting type, it provides a fighting energy, and that Pokemon takes 20 less damage from your opponent's attacks. So that makes that Coalossal card earlier a little bit more tanky for sure. And I think Coalossal did say energy card, so you can use that top attack to attach these on, which is interesting. I quite like this mostly in the Phalanx deck, right? Because you can sort of start with Toughness Cape, and then stacking these on the babies. I mean, I think you're knocking about the 150 health range, maybe 180, something in there. Granted, it's not the most, but I like it in there. Outside of that, I mean, I guess Coalossal, the VMAX would probably play 4 of these. But I don't think it's the most impactful energy for sure. I don't think it's as bad as some people are making out either. Like I think I'd rather this than the grass type one, for example. But it ain't no strong energy, that's for sure. But that's all the cards then, guys. So thank you for watching. As always, love that. If you're after, you know, more content from me, you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I put a new video out at least once a day. If you have to Darkness Ablaze full deck profiles and games, check out the playlist in the description. I've got loads of them ready to go, okay? But thank you for watching, as always, and I'll see you all next time.